really, you do it really for yourself, go and cover what you've missed.
Okay, so I'll check it out later
Yeah.
after the class.
So, quickly, those of us that were present yesterday, can we just give a little run through on what we treated in our last class? Who can tell us what we treated in our last class? Kindly unmute and speak, please. Anyone?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, yes, yes. I hear you. I hear you clear. That is a
Okay, thank you.
Lodigwe. Go ahead.
Yeah, yesterday few of the things or one of the few things we talked about, uh, it was function and a way to concatenate some variables inside function, and then you later delved into uh, conditional statements, the if else. You talked about what is it called? The operators, the comparison operators, and all of that. Yeah, so that is just a few of the things we did yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You really buttressed that. Buttressed that. Thank you so much. So does any other person have anything to add to that? Person have anything to add to that? Okay. So today we said we'll be getting into functions and scope. No, no, no. We have to look into control flow and loops, conditional statements, if else switch loops for while.
Sir, please, can you do a little recap on yesterday class? I don't.
Yes, I will. I will. All right. So, just like Ilogigwe said, we started the class by, this thing exactly. We worked on, since we have treated variables, we have treated data types and all that. We just, before we started trying to, use our logic to solve problems, right? One of the many things we said, we gave an instance, and I remember I drew some sort of, okay, I'm not sharing my screen, right? And I remember I drew some sort of, I drew some sort of, the recording just suddenly, exactly. All
Okay.
right.
Hmm?
Do something
So
like this.
you guys are actually absolutely correct, right?
We do something like this. So we do something like this, right? We were trying to solve for this logic. We said um we gave an exercise in our notes here. Here's our variable exercise here exactly. And the exercise was that we are given this code below that A is given the number 5, B is given the number 10. Now we should swap the values of these variables, right? Like let A become 10 and B become 5 without touching the code. And this was the code given here. Said we should not touch the code. We should not touch the code at all, right? Now we began thinking, how do we solve for that, right? How do we solve for that? Then we gave, say, when the code is run, it should output A is 10, B is 5. So we should not touch the code, right? And we started by, bringing it to real life as to how, if we were given a situation where you have two buckets, right? You want to transfer the content that is in bucket A into bucket B. How do you do that? We mentioned that. We said, how do you do that? And everybody agreed that we would actually have to bring in another bucket, right? And in that other bucket that we're bringing, we now had to think of how we were going to solve that. Then we now, you know, from using our logic, we realize that for us to be able to transfer the content in bucket A into bucket B, what we have to first of all do is we have to bring in a third bucket, which is C, an empty bucket, which is C. Then we transfer the content that is in bucket A into that empty bucket of C, right? Then we now transfer the content in B into A. Transfer the content of A into C, then we now transfer the content of B into A. By doing that, we've solved the first problem because the main goal we are trying to do is we want the content of A inside B and the content of B inside A. So we've already put the content of B inside A. Now is to put the content of A inside B. And the content of A is in C, right? So we now have to transfer it from C into B. That was simply, the solution to that. And of course, thanks so much to, Digwe once more. And this is simply what we did here. We brought in the new variable here, C. We said, let's C equals to A. That means let's C be equal to the content of A. And then let A, just like we've solved now, let A now be equals to B, right? Let A now be equals to B. Then B will now be equal to C. Right? So that was the simple logic that we did. And then when we ran this, we saw that we have it solved. So that was literally the test we did. Then the final thing we now went to the class of the day, we looked into a couple things. We were now looking into comparison operator and logical operator. And there we spoke about comparison operators. We listed them. We also spoke about naming convention, about the right way to name in JavaScript. We said JavaScript, JavaScript, JavaScript uses camel casing, camel casing. right? And this is an example of how camel casing is. Don't start, don't start with, you know, capital letters, right? Let's say I want to call a variable. You don't say let's name, maybe capital letter N. It may not work because yes, JavaScript doesn't recognize as such. And then secondly, we also have to be careful about the variable names that we are using because there are already, predefined predefined keywords in JavaScript already. And gradually be looking at that. Just like since we've learned about alert, so you should know that surely if you are naming a variable, you can never name a variable with alert, right? If you're naming a variable, you can never name a variable with prompt, right? But if you want to name with prompt, of course you can do something like a prompt mega, it doesn't recognize things like you cannot just use things like prompt. You cannot just use things like uh, mega. No, this is not allowed, right? And then we'll be looking at, so we've looked into, you know, alerts, also does not prompt. So there are so many. And then, as I was saying, comparison operators. We looked at the comparison operators, and these are they are here. So we won't be spending too much time. Just have to try and go back to the video. And then also look at logical operators. And yeah, logical operators, you use it to, work on the comparison, right? So now even for the content of what we hope to go into today is control flows and loops. And the thing we noticed is that we had actually started looking at control flows if uh, started looking at control flows already. Remember all these things we were doing here, very first time, our very first class, right? Um, remember when we used this statement if, else, right? That's literally control flow, right? That's control flow. You're trying to control the flow of the program by using that conditional statement. You know what, when we say conditionals, you know what we mean. It's like there are some things, there are some things we want to register or join. We usually tell you terms and conditions apply, right? So there are some conditionals. There are some conditionals that you have to fulfill. So that is simply what that is. Just like here now, we gave a condition that if the person is older than 23, that person is eligible to be married, right? So that is the conditional that for you to be eligible to be married, you should be older than 23. But if you are younger than 23, at least you should you should wait a little longer, just a little longer. So that was the conditional that we stated, right? So I think we'll be going more in depth into that. Because here now we just use if else. So that's actually it is if. Then if you want multiple loops, right? Then you actually do things like there now. Here we just ended it with else because our main focus is those two things. Is either you are older than 23 or you are not older than 23. Let's say we want to add multiple situations now. Say if the person is older than since the person is older than 23 is eligible to be married. If the person, let's say we want to add another thing now here now. Say else if you want to add more to the flow, right? It's going to be else if, right? It's going to be else if I don't know if you're understanding me. So else, if the person is older than, let's say, 70, let's say if the person is older than, or let's just leave 70, let's just say 75. If the person is older than 75, let's not say older than the person. Let's say the person is older than 75. Then we don't want the person to be thinking of marriage at that age. Then we can say, um, wow. Can say wow. And then also by doing this, let's also be, be conscious. Guys, can we hear me?
I can
Yes,
hear
sir, we
you.
can hear you.
Okay, okay. I just saw Chikezie message saying he can't hear, so within
I
now,
sent that. I sent that
yeah,
long
night
ago.
12, yeah. So let's also bring to our consciousness that we are also working on concatenation, concatenation, concatenation. And what we simply mean by this is joining multiple strings together. Just take for instance here now. I say, uh, let's say I say alert, alert, hello. So if I can just say alert, hello dear. It's going to work fine, right? Look at this. Hello dear. Now let's also look into concatenation. So concatenation simply means like when we're trying to merge two strings together. And just like we stated in our very, second class or so, when you are when you are kind of like concatenating for strings, sometimes you may go and okay, let me just finish this thing I'm trying to say. If you do something like this now, hello, we concatenate with the plus sign, right? Hello dear. So when you do something like this, you'll see that it is actually going to just join everything together. You just join, see, hello dear. Everything is just combined together. So how do you in concatenation? How do you go about it? So one way is that you can decide to, create an empty string here. You can decide to create an empty string here and put a plus. So it's going to join. Now there are three strings here. So it's going to join these three strings together. The hello, the space, and the dear. Let's run that and see. You see that hello space dear. But instead of, remember we are programmers. One of the main things we look into doing always is to write is to write our code in the least possible way, with the least possible stress. So the shorter your code, the better for you, right? So we look for ways to make our codes shorter, right? So another way you can go about this is just, you can either do this, okay, our plus has to be here. So you can either decide to, when you do the hello, you give a space after the hello plus there. It's going to give that space, right? So even though you do, even though you give the space here, hello space here, so it's going to still give you the same thing. So that's what we mean by concatenation, and which is literally what you saw us. This is literally what we've been doing here. I'm just trying to take out the time to spell this out, just in case I didn't, and it may be a big deal to some persons. So this is literally what we mean here. That's literally what we mean here. hello. Like here now, we first we were saying hi, welcome. You see that hi, welcome. There's a space after welcome. Then the concatenation plus name, the name of the person, the name the person imputed, right? Plus name, plus, you see, I did a comma, I gave a space. Since you are plus age, so that's actually how we concatenate. Now let's get back to what we're trying to work on. That if the person is older than 75. Wow. So what grammar can we say? Wow.
You are supposed to have grandchildren.
uh Yeah, exactly. Let's call the person's name plus name plus name. Let's say I don't think you should still be
Single.
thinking about a wife. So we have to let's give that comma here. So after the name, comma, then space. I don't think you should still be thinking about a wife, space, wife. I don't think you should still be thinking about a wife. Since you are already, since you are, let's now put his age for him here. Since you are already age, since you are already, let's concatenate again. So after the age, we want a space. Years old. You can try adopting kids. What do you think? Okay, so that is by this now. We've worked on if age is greater than 23, the person is free to marry. So if you want to add, what I'm just simply trying to tell us here is that if we want to add multiple things, if we want to add multiple things here, like multiple else if, you can still, let's say you have created a plan that between 23 and 50 is free to marry. But if the person is older than 50, maybe let's say you can now say greater than 50 greater than 50, you say, do you think you should still be thinking of a partner by now? You understand this kind of thing? Then 75, you say no. 80, you say no. 90, you say you should be preparing to die. No, don't mind me. So you understand what we're trying to say. Now let's run this code and see what happens. So we see the prompt where the person's name is being asked, right? We see the prompt of the person's name. So let's say shoot Igbo. Igwe, how old are you? Let's say he's 77. You see that? See all those long concatenation that we wrote. He said, hi, welcome, shoot Igwe. Since you are since you are 77, you're eligible to get married. No, 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 this is not what should happen.
Yeah, that's not what we should be having.
Since
See what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think the first condition
If the
is
first condition
completely with the
includes
second
yes,
with the second.
yes. The
Mm,
first condition is equal to or greater than 23
yes,
years now. So
yes,
77
yes,
is still 23. It's still above that.
yes, you're right. But there are cases where, we are working with conditionals. So once it reaches another conditional, it should retire. But you are right, you're right. Let's say the person is greater than, so let's expand on this conditional. The person is greater than or equal to 23 and less than 50. Let's run this again. Chooks 77. Wow. Since you are 77, you're eligible to get married.
In,
No.
introduce and there. Let's
He
see.
did not use the and there.
So that the two
My
conditions must be
students,
met.
you are very
Introduce and.
correct. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. Wow, Chooks, I don't think you should still be thinking about a wife. Since you're already 77 years old, you can try adopting kids. What do you think? This is great. So thank you so much, guys. So by that, those are still business today's class. You've also seen the the importance of the logical operators, right? So thank you so much, guys, for the assistance. Um,
Let's try to put age that is less than 23. Let's see if the else statement will run.
age that is less than 23. Yeah, that would be nice. Let's see what you say. That man. Okay, okay. It's going to run the else now. It should run the else. You see that? It will run the else.
Yes,
So
yes.
it will run the else. All right. So that is that. How do I how do I close this thing? Say? Okay. This. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your
Yes,
screen.
I can see your screen.
All right. So back into what we want to have today. Uh, we said we said control flow. Control flow. So even before we proceed, I think we should also, know something, and that thing is about about what is it called again, sir? Yeah, JavaScript has JavaScript has a keyword. You may want to write multiple. You may need numbers. You may need to always generate random numbers. In fact, for any code you're writing, most times you may always need to generate random numbers, right? Now, JavaScript has, you know, a function for that, for generating random numbers. And that keyword is called math dot math.random. Math dot. So if you run this, it's going to generate you random numbers. So if you keep running it, you keep getting different numbers. Now the thing is, the numbers being generated cannot, it's like statistics, right? It can never be greater, it can never be greater than one. So it will be 0 point whatever, 0 point whatever, whatever to 0.99999. It can never be greater than 1. So that is for the function called math.random. Now let's think together. Think we already have some developers in the house. If we want, now that we've seen what math.random does, it generates random numbers, right? Decimal numbers that's not greater than 1. If we want to use this math or random function to generate numbers greater than 10 or numbers greater than 20, like integer numbers. What do I mean by integer? What do I mean by integer numbers, guys?
I think whole
Whole
numbers.
whole numbers.
Numbers.
Exactly, whole numbers without
Decimal points.
is numbers without the decimal. Yeah, thank you so much. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Tell me. How do we do that? How do we use the math or random to generate numbers greater than 10? Like numbers in
Is there
10
a way to
decimal.
pass in the parameters you want?
Yes, yes, yes.
We can use the range of numbers we want in that method then.
Yes.
I guess you multiply it with an integer number. I guess.
Wisdom Munachi, he said we will do what?
I guess you multiply it with a random number, like an integer number rather. Like this random number, if you want
Exactly.
it to be
We
number.
are going
Yeah.
to multiply it by the number that we want. Yes. So if we want to generate number that is greater than 10, what we want to do is multiply it by 10. So you see that it's always going to give us what is going on? Why am I still saying this? Okay, okay, I know. So it's always going to give. So how do we make it kind of like, how do we make it a round number? Like we don't want this decimal. Does anybody have any idea? So there is also another one here called maths.floor, right? What maths.floor simply does is that it floors it now. It rounds it up without decimal. Okay, so that's what maths.floor does. Now let us say we want to write a program that I'm thinking of the program we can work on now that will require maths or random. Can you guys give me an idea? What can we do that will require? Okay, let's just try this. That what our users is going to, let's say they are playing a game, right? And that game that they are playing, the code is going to tell them what they scored from the game, right? The code is going to tell them what they scored from the game in 100% range. So we are going to want to use prompts, right? We are going to want to use prompts. Prompt. Um, what's your name? The user tells us their name. Then we alert we alert we alert say, wow, congratulations. So let's use a variable to hold their name. Congratulations. Congratulations. Wow, Allah, wow. Congratulations, name. Right? Wow. Congratulations, name, space. You scored. So we are going to create another variable called score. Score equals to math or random. You
Did
scored,
they did they assign a keyword to the score?
sir?
I beg,
Okay,
sir. I beg.
okay, okay. Is it the length?
Yes, the keyword. Yeah.
Okay, okay, no problems. But it may still work since it is already under let name. You understand? So let's say we want it to look something like, wow, congratulations, the person's name, you scored, let's add a percentage, you scored this is also percentage. Let's run this. What's your name? Emeka Okafor. Wow, congratulations. It's it is supposed to it is supposed to floor the score first before giving it to me now. God. Oh,
Uh,
ideas. How do we fix this?
What if
what if
we a-
you? Okay, go on, bro.
what if we assign the value from maths.floor? score to another variable, then use the variable there.
You said?
I was thinking we do score plus equals score plus maths dot floor. Passing score into the bracket. I don't know.
I didn't understand what you said, Sha, but we can still do something like this. Let's try this first. Okay, okay. Let it come here. Then the math the random. Math the random should come inside here. Okay, we got it right. Which one they are silent like this?
Yes, we got it.
So we got it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the help. So the thing is, because I don't know, Sha, but when we are calling that, when we are calling that, when we are calling the math or random, math dot random, there's a reason why the floor is not able to round it up. So, but I think this is great. So, yeah, it gives us a random score of the person. So, so there are multiple ways that you can actually continually work on this. So it's just going to constantly keep creating random numbers. So we kind of
I have a
like
question.
have questions. But let me comment this out. Let me try something. So let's say we do our let's or equals let's use our maths dot random. So you know something like this now. Ideas you can use to work on something like this is you can even use it to work on a dice game. You understand? A dice game. Let it be that because whenever you're tossing a dice, is there any assurance that you are going to be getting you are going to be getting 6 or 5? Of course not, right?
I,
It is random.
yes, I think it will be interesting if we try to build a dice game.
Okay.
We fix
So
a we fix a condition to the random so that it doesn't exceed the number 6, something like that. I'm trying to
yeah,
imagine how
so
that
it
would.
wouldn't actually exceed the number 6. Because all we have to do is write this here times 6. So you know what random generates is between 0 to 1. Have you forgotten? Between 0 to 1. So
Yeah.
if it gives us 0.2, to now multiply 0.2 to 6. If it gives us 0.9, we multiply 0.9 by 6. So you see that the highest it can actually give to you is that
That's
what?
point nine.
So,
6.
sorry. Let me. I want to ask. Sorry. This
Yeah,
one is personal.
no
Are,
problem.
are you are you more of back end than front end? Because I figured you like working on console.
Okay. Oh yeah, you don't catch me. Yes, yes, I'm all back end.
Okay, I
So
get it.
it's
Because
only back.
I was thinking if we can quickly,
So
create the
okay,
nice
let
game
me
with this
now
thing like this now.
see the thing is for me to want to tell you guys how to use JavaScript now on your VS Code, I have to start telling you people about HTML, right? Because JavaScript cannot just run. You must save it with .html. You know that, right?
Yes, I know.
So I just want them to learn the JavaScript first. Let them understand how the JavaScript works. Then before we now come and start, because when I want to talk about HTML, I'm not going to go deep into it. I'll just tell you that this is what your browser runs. And like we said earlier, JavaScript is to help our web interactive, right? So you know that you can create an HTML file and write your JavaScript under. So, but normally, if you are actually, because I don't want you people to start thinking, although I've told you guys to download VS Code, time to use VS Code to come. So I don't want to come and start, stressing your minds with so many things. I just said let's just be working with console, right? Well, yes, I'm actually more back end, but it doesn't mean I cannot do front end. I can do front end. But don't worry, just follow me. You will understand better. There are certain things you may not understand now until as you keep going, you understand. Okay, you understand
No, no
better.
wahala.
So just
No
like that
wahala.
dice game, just like that dice game we're talking about, right? Here now we don't need. No, let's not disturb our. Let's just create a new snippet here. Let's call it dice game. Let's call it dice game. So we can say let's n is it n we will use or dice? Let n equals to math dot random math dot random. And we can still say n is equals to hey n is equals to math dot floor. Forgot to do our times 6 here. Math dot log, right? So let's do console dot log n. Let's try this. N equals to, why is it telling me n? Let's say,
N is not a number now. That's what it said.
are you seeing the random numbers is generating?
Yes, yes.
Yes, but then it's throwing
Giving
zero.
us 0. So to fix that now, if +1 we will do now. Just +1 here. So I'm never getting 0 again. Why is throwing us 0? Remember, it gives us digit between 0 to 0.9, right? Let's use our calculator. Let's say 0.9 times 6. So 5.4. Did you see that? So the highest we'll be getting is 5.4. And if it rounds up 5.4, you know that 5.4 is going to be 5. So we are never going to get 6. So that's why we have to do the first one so that hopefully we'll be able to get 6. So yeah, we just got 6, right? So, so
Thank you very much for this.
so so there are many things. Even when we were younger, remember there was this game we used to play where you get your name. I think love calculator, Abi. You get your name, you get the girl's name. I mean people did not play that game during your time. You
Say
get
I
the
think
girl's name.
flames.
Flames. You know that thing was a game of
I
random.
don't play am.
It was a game of random number. You get your name, you get the girl's name. Then you can use math.random. You know, then of course you do it by 100%, just like I was doing here now. Just like I was doing here. So no need for this thing I'm doing here since I already have what I want. And like we said earlier, when we do this double slash here, what double slash simply means is what? Comment, right? And this kind of comment is only for single line. But if you want a multi-line comment now, you do this. So everything you keep writing a comment. When you want to end multi-line comments, you close it like this. So this is how to write multi-line comments. But for single line comments, you can just do like this. So you can use that information. So right, right. Think let's add that +1 here. What's your name? So congratulations, you have 32% and all that, right? So that's that. Now we've also learned about maths.floor, maths.random, right? So as we keep going, more things is going to be unraveled to us. Let's now get back to our if statement. I believe we've treated if statement now, right? That is simply how to use your if statements. So if else is just for conditionals. I mean, any need to any need to be taken about extra examples for if else statements. I think this is good enough now. So you may, if you need something much, much, much more, of course, you can always feel free to, work on that personally, right? See, see our maths.random that we spoke about. See our maths.random. Okay, you see, for maths, we also have maths.py. What maths.py does is, okay, look at many, many other maths. Maths.py give you pi. And what is pi? Pi is 22 divided by 7, right? And what is 22 divided by 7? 22 divided by 7 is 3.14 blah blah blah. Let's try it out and see what it tells us. Okay, so that is simply what this one does. Tells us the 22 divided by 7 results, right? So if you need to know more maths, only God knows the kind of code you'll be writing. You never can tell. So you you may be employed by a company to handle some complex mathematical algorithms, right? Where you may need Euler's number or pi or square root. So actually, there are still a couple things you may be working on that you may need square roots, right? So for you to get square roots, if you want to get square roots now, of any number now, it's very easy. It's very easy. To get square roots is very easy. All you have to do is square square roots. Square root of 6. You need only square root of 2 it can find.
Six is not a perfect square.
Yes, 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 yes. What is it? I think this one is only 2 it's want to be working on because from their instance here, returns the square root of 2. This is for logarithm of 2, logarithm of 10. So that means we literally, if we have to use, okay, so we have math.round. Math.round only gives us to the nearest integer, right? Math.round 4.65. Math.cl, math.cl, math.cl 4.4. Okay, a number that's okay. Let me see 4.8 now. Let me see what. Same 5, 8.1. So this one is like this one. What this one just does is, even though it's not able to round up, it will just take it to the next integer immediately. That's what this one does. That's what maths.cl does, right? That's what maths.cl does. So, even this is an IDE from W3 schools, right? That helps you write code and run it on the go. Just like I was even talking about. Remember what I said earlier, that before you can, you need HTML, right? So they've already done this. Look at this here. This is an HTML template, and then you'll be writing your JavaScript code here under before the closing body tag. So hopefully we'll look into that. And this is our math.com. This is our math.com. This is our math.floor. So, like you saw earlier, what maths.floor does is it takes it to the nearest integer. So wow, 4.7 is still 4. Let's say 4.8.
I think
4.8.
it rounds it down.
Yes, yes. 4.8 is still
Yes,
4.
it
So
rounds it down.
can you see why I had to do that plus 1? So that it's going to give that one. That means, if I think from what we've just learned now, if we want to use something accurate, that means we have to work with math.round, right? math.round seems to be like the best for now because it follows the right function of 4.5 should be 5. So, but 4.4 should be 4. Exactly. So, math.round is just the right thing now. So, we just seen that math.cl, math.round gives rounds it off to the nearest integer. Math.cl takes it to the nearest integer. It does not even round, it does not round anything. Math.floor brings it to the floor, right? Math.trunk returns the integer part of x. Returns the integer part of x. What does that mean? Okay, it only, so that means if I have 4.9 here, it's still going to be 4. Wow. Now, what is now the need of all this? Is it not the same thing with math.cl? So, well, so that's why all these things are here, right? That's why all this, okay. Uh, and this is mass dot power. You know, just like in your calculator, if you always want, if you want to do 5 raised to power 6, 7 raised to power 10, how we do that in JavaScript is math.power. 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 So we say math. Don't forget the M is capital, while others would be small letter. So math.power. Then this function here now, the first number that will come here is the number. What do they call that thing now? The number. I don't know what they call it. Then the next thing that will be here now is the power, right? What you want to raise it to the power of. The
The
first
base
thing
number.
by this now, what I've simply said is 2 raised to power 4. And 2 raised to power 4 is what? 16. So that is how to do that in JavaScript. So there are lots of interesting stuff. Okay, look at the square root now that I was trying to work on. Look at the square root function. If I want to do if I want to do the square root, if I want to do the square root, if I want to do the square root of, I think that was small letter, right? Small letter, not capital
Yeah,
letter.
it's small letter, not capital letter.
That's why that one did not work. It's like the capital letter means a different thing, right? Capital letter means a different thing. So if we want to do of 9, you see 3. If we want to do of 6, so it's still going to give us a value set of points, whatever. So, yeah, also, take note of that too. Also be noteful of that, right? So, yeah, maths is actually something that you may. So I'm just trying to tell you that just in case you don't have to stress yourself, trying to memorize all these things, right? You can even find the minimum and maximum of a number. To find the minimum of a number is math.min. You do this, you find the minimum. None of us actually goes, none of us actually goes carrying all these things on our head, right? It's when we need it Just type it on Google, MDN is there, W52 is there. Just use it, right? And this is for
Okay.
RAM. You say something.
Yes, I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is- what's the difference between function and method?
Function and
And method. Because I think all these maths, all math something, they are all methods. So how do you differentiate it from function? Because it seems like we're writing them in the same way.
okay. Don't worry, when we get into function, you'll see that. Well, you can still type on Google. The difference between functions and methods in JS. Do you understand? So they said functions can take input arguments and return output values. On the other hand, method is a function. So you see that method is actually a function, right? They are all functions. So the mathematical stuff that we're taking is all functions. They are all functions. It's a method. Method is a function that is associated with an object. But don't worry, when we get into function, you get OCD, meta rem, all that. So, okay, see that thing we actually did here, math.floor. So you see, even what they did was that they put math.floor here. They use math.floor, the function math.floor, to wrap math.random, right? Let math.random be inside math.floor. So that after math.random generates whatever I want to generate, math.floor is what would be the feedback that we're getting. Now, as you can see, are you seeing this, guys? If you want to generate a number from 0 to 9, what do they multiply it by? 10. But if you want to generate a number from 0 to 10, what do you multiply it by? 11. They
11.
go, because they use that maths.flow. And remember, maths.flow always reduce by 1. That was why you saw me do something like this here, why I did that plus 1 here, right? So I think it's still the same thing, but you can just come here and do 101. Because like I said earlier, our main goal is writing shorter. So by me doing plus 1 is a little bit longer, even though it's just 2. It's just 2 inputs I did. So one. So you see that if you want to generate an integer from 0 to 99, you are using 100. But if you want to generate from 0 to 100, what are we using? 101. Now you see the thing I actually did. Did you see what I did here? Plus 1. What is wrong with W3 schools? I just deleted my own code and they are not showing it to me. So if you still decide to do plus 1, it's still it's still fine, right? It's still okay from what we just saw here. Okay, so hopefully we get to come here. And yeah, we spoke about comparisons. We looked at comparisons. Now, what we want to go into now is okay, this one here, they are comparing data types. 2, 2 is less than 12, true. 2 is less than 12, true. 2 is less than John, no. This is a string. 2 is greater than John, no, this is a string. 2 is, yeah, this is 2 is less than 12. This is supposed to be true. Why is it not true?
It's because it's in a string form.
The 2 is a string. The 12 is a string. Okay. That means what the string is
Yes,
counting is not counting, it's counting the
the
uh,
value.
okay, how is this one now greater? Wow.
I guess you should press the try so we'll see what it is, I guess.
Wow. Wow. Well, let's quickly look into what we said on that, right? Now we said in conditional statements, we've spoken about what conditional statements are, right? So now we want to treat control flows and loops. So let this one be the middle. Very often when you write code, you want to perform different actions for different decision, guys. So we we use conditional statements in our code when we want to when when we write we use conditional statement in our code when we write when we in our code when we want to perform different actions for different decisions. And here, you see, there are there are four there are four major types of conditional statements. What are they? If, else if, switch. Let's just take this. So just like and I believe we've looked at if, else if, and else, right?
Yes, sir.
So like the note here says, we use if when we want to specify a block of code to be executed, right? If a specified condition is true. Now, just in case it is not true, maybe there are other possible outcomes. That is when we use else. Then we use else if there is a new condition to test. That is just in case that previous one is false, right? Just like we did here. This is a new condition that we tested here. Just in case this one is false. Just in case this one is false. Is a new condition that we tested. Now, switch now there's a way switch works, right? Switch is, you know, you can actually use if, else if, and else. You need to make your code very, 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 very long. So switch is that thing we use when there are multiple blocks of code, multiple alternative blocks. We just use switch statements, right? And we're going to be looking at how the switch statement works. Let's say, let's say you want to you want to write a code of the clothes you want to wear in different days of the week, right? Clothes you want to wear in different days of the week. Is it, let's say on one day you want to be on corporate, on Tuesday you should be on this, Wednesday you should be on this, Thursday you should be on this. That kind of thing now. Wanting to use You can actually do that with if and else if, but it's going to be quite voluminous. It's going to be quite voluminous, right? So to be nicer and cooler, if you know we use what switch. Although switch has been around for a long, long time during the time of but it's still being used till today. Still being used till today. And look at uh, simple code of if. If hour is less than 18, that is, if it is less than 6 p.m., so good day. That's for else. We've written codes on if and else, written codes on if else, right? Now, it's what we want to look into Gongon is what? Switch. Let's see how switch looks like. So this is the syntax of switch. This is the syntax of switch, right? This is how switch works. Switch function name, then the multiple blocks of code can come in here. So with our knowledge of with our knowledge of um with our knowledge of with our knowledge of if else statements, this is our assignment. This is what we're going to do here right now. We are going to work on switch.js. I'm just going to paste that syntax here. Okay, what did we say we want to cover today again? Okay, for and while loops. So, let me rename this. Let me rename this. Let's call this food switch. Food switch. Um, let's say food. I hope this code works. So instead of his X, we want this to be breakfasts, right? Okay, let's look at how the switch block works. It says this is how it works. The switch expression is evaluated once, right? The value of the expression is compared with the values of each case. If there is a match, the associated block of code is executed. If there is no match, the default code block is executed. So what it's simply saying is, you see this default here, you're going to list all the case studies that you want here. So case launch, right? All the case will come here. Another case will be case dinner, right? So our codes would go in here. So if all these our case studies, like if it is breakfast, I will eat this. If it is lunch, eat this, eat this. If it is breakfast, maybe possible food I can eat for breakfast, eat this. If it is dinner, eat this, right? If if it is not if it is not breakfast, lunch or dinner, then the default is going to kick in, right? That means if it's not breakfast, lunch or dinner, let's say it's 3 a.m., the default has to be go and sleep. You understand? Like those of us that codes at night, stay up late, and then you realize that by 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. you'll be hungry. You'll be going to the kitchen and be getting some, looking for what to eat. So let's just use that, right? And now this is a very simple example. This is a simple example of the code that they wrote here. They said the get the method returns the weekday as a number between 0 and 6. Sunday equals to 0, Monday equals to 1, Tuesday equals to 2. This example uses the weekday number to calculate the weekday name. So what this one will do here is that if you run this code now and put, it asks you what day, you put day 4, it's going to tell you day is Saturday. You understand? They are not saying anything.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just try this thing I'm saying. Case breakfast. Uh, don't even know if this is going to work, but let's just see. Why am I having a feeling this is not going to work? Mm-hmm. Just know it's not going to work. Oh. Yes, it's not going to work. Oh. Because I know I have to define, food first of all. I have to define food before this is going to run. So, and I can,
You have to define food. If food is because you're testing the food variable against the values given in that switch. I don't know if you heard me.
Sorry, you said?
I said you have to define food because you're testing the food variable against the values given inside the statement, the
Yes,
switch
yes,
statement.
yes. And me, I don't want to define food. I just want it to throw me this text. Because wanting to define food now is going to take a little complexity, and I'm looking at the time. So I'm just thinking around a quicker way we can do this. X equals to 0. Okay, what we can do, let's just leave this up there. Maybe let's take a prompt. At least there has to be a way, right? Prompt. There has to be a way to actually collect data from our user to know what they will eat, right? Prompt. What do we call it now? What do we call morning, afternoon, evening?
Maybe daily meals. I don't
Answer with morning, afternoon, evening.
See, it's supposed to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Evening is dinner now. Anyway, let's try this other work. This is not going to work. So what we have to do here now is let's try putting morning. Let's try this again. This should work, Abi. Oh,
know.
okay.
Okay, at the end of this thing, like we should put like a semicolon on each side.
I don't think semicolon matters here. Let me see. Case. Breakfast is not the sign. Morning is not the sign. Oh yeah, let's brainstorm or let's look at this. So once we can get this, we do an assignment. Hmm. Now it's telling us, okay, did you see that? We've done it, right? Evening. See my assistant tutors John, they don't snub me. They are allowing me fight this war alone.
Maybe they struggle with switch. Maybe they struggle with switch.
So something is wrong. It is giving us only this first value.
Can
9 2. New
yeah,
food.
yes,
Get food.
like new food, open bracket and close the bracket, dot, get food, open the bracket and close the bracket, and then you close the central bracket.
Let me think about that. Okay, I think mistake I actually made here is that this here should be the food. Okay. Why this case? Remember that what we are imputing is a string, right? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you,
Ah,
sir.
So what should happen to a string? String has to be in quotation, right? So let's say I mix this up here. Let's run this. Let me see what it says. Morning. Okay, the same thing. Let me try afternoon now. Afternoon. You see that? Oh, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I would have followed my organa, go and be doing new food. Now scatter the code. So even here, if you decide to put let food equals to, it's still fine. I just did food equals to. So that was actually what we are supposed to do. This should be here now should be the what we are going to key in. Remember. So then yeah. So this is so if so now we can now say if it is not if the person does not put the correct thing. Remember, default is what should run if the person does not follow the correct syntax that we give to it. So what we will say is let's say we want to tell the person I I didn't really understand what you meant by by food. Or what we are typing here, I don't like the grammar. Let us use something like let's use something like let's food. This one here should be time, right? The switch here should be time. Do you understand what I'm doing? Remember, we said that when we are writing codes, we should learn to work with terms that people can understand, right? So since I'm taking prompts from my users about the time, why should I be saving that prompt with time? Even though the code worked, right? My mobile developers answer me now. The code worked, right?
Yes,
Yes,
so
sir.
But is that the right naming convention? No.
No, sir.
We've spoken about naming convention, so we have to we have to fix that. So let what is collecting time for us be the time, the time, then food. Okay. Then the default, just in case somebody puts what we don't have, right? Let it tell the person, I didn't really understand what you meant by food. Food, what you meant by time. Sorry, now I've made a mistake. What you meant by time, that is the prompt the person entered. Could you stick to the one requested, please? Right? Requested, please. Thanks. So I think there has, yeah, this is the one. Then maybe we can even alert. We can use alert instead of always using our console.log. We can use alert. Then it can be something like for then our time. You can have food. Will this code work? Yeah. Before I hit enter, do you think this code will work?
I don't know if there's no space in that food,
Eh?
like for the like there was no space after the plus and food and plus.
There was no space where.
Like you did not space the plus food
Okay,
and
okay.
plus
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in
I don't think that really matters, right? Remember, the concatenation is just joining that food there is a variable. Let's say, let's say morning. For morning, you can have eat bread. You can have, okay. You see that? You see it actually worked. It's alerted, right? For morning, you can have, remember, this is what we call this here. You can have, so if we change this to some rice, let's try this again. Morning. For morning, you can have eat bread and some tea. You can have some, let's try this again. Morning, okay. You can have some bread and some tea. You see that? Now, let's say somebody go and try night. See what it will tell the person. For night, for night, you can have then it now displays the default message. You see that default that we described here, right? That default message. I didn't really understand what you meant by night. Could you stick to the one requested, please? Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is that for shift. So our assignment is going to be to what we are going to do for our assignment is that you are going to you are going to write you're going to write a switch statement. You're going to use switch to describe the various days of the various clothes that you intend to wear for various days of the week. So Monday to Sun Sunday to Saturday, what you intend to wear. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
do we have any questions so that we just attend to questions so that somebody was shouting for me in my TM that he's owning his lister gen and he does not like that the class is going past 11 so that he's not going to sack me. So I have to be on time, run other movements. So are there questions? Are there questions for me?
I can just drop the assessment on the group stuff for that I can know. Yeah, I guess
Ah, this your voice that is in Can you come again, please?
I said you can just like you like the assignment, just drop it like you drop it on the group stuff. It's not like a question.
Can you type, please? I'm struggling to hear you. Just type it in chat. So no other person has a question, right? So yeah. Thank you
I'll ask,
so. Okay.
uh,
Go.
I'll ask you mine on WhatsApp, please, because I
Okay.
didn't join the first class, so I want to ask something, but it will be on WhatsApp. Thank you.
Okay. My oga has already even wrote me on WhatsApp that time is up, sir. All right, no problem. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much,
Yeah.
guys. So let me just work on uploading this on YouTube. Okay, okay. I'll drop the
Okay.
assignment. I'll drop the assignment. All right. Take care. Take care, guys. Bye.